right, it is Kneecap Biting with the Detroit Lions. I'm your host, Jeremy Ballrick. I have my friends here, Jordan Davison and Will Vogel. Gino didn't write back as his nickname this week. That's awesome. James Burgess and Mark Mallett is in the chat already. James Burgess says Detroit Rams buy shitty t-shirts that will be ridiculous in weeks. Comes with free Bud Light. And Mark Malik says Super Bowl or bust, as he always does. And yes, a lot of Lions fans, including myself, would love to see that sooner than later. Seeing how we haven't seen it again. So this is the big week. It's the week before the 4th of July. And I'm going to take next Wednesday off because of 4th of July being Tuesday. So the next NFL Roundtable talks covering the AFC North will be in 2 weeks from tonight. The only NFL news that's out there, I mean, the biggest news is Ryan Mallett, former QB from the University of Michigan and the University of Arkansas, drafted by the Patriots, then went on to who did he go to second?
Houston, I believe.
Yeah, it was Houston. I wanted to say Houston off the top of my head without even looking it up, and
yeah, he went to the Texans.
He passed away in a drowning accident yesterday.
Yeah.
The breaking of that news happened while I was on Inside the Pigskin with Melfar Jr. and of course my publisher Scott Morganroth and all, and I gave my heartfelt response then, and I'm going to give the same thing to my fans that watch me here of the team and everybody else. My heart especially goes out to his parents. No parent should have to bury their child.
I agree.
Especially that way.
Yeah, and no, anyway, I don't care. I don't care what.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying that that would be a pain. That's like one of the painfulest deaths you could have.
That's my biggest fear in life, is drowning.
Yeah, like that or a fire would suck.
I would rather fire because fire, depending on how hot it is, can actually kill you instantly.
Yeah, that's true.
Drowning is a whole different animal. And Chad Datima comes, Jeremy, my bro. And James Burgess says, evening all. Chad Datima tells James hi. And sad news, praying for his family is what Chad Datima says. And I agree. But I especially, my instant reaction was tears because I've been through this as a parent. And no, like I said, no parent should ever bury their child.
Yeah.
All right. And then the other news is Devontae Parker was re-signed by New England. So, woohoo!
Yeah, so he'll play 12 games in the 3 years. So he's basically he's getting like $3 million per game.
So he's getting paid almost as much as Kenny Galladay did per catch in New York.
Yeah, he's getting paid about $200,000 per catch.
So let's talk about the NFC West. Offseason additions. Who had the best free agent acquisitions overall? As much as I hate to say it, the cream rises to the top. You would almost have to say the best free agent acquisitions in the division was the 49ers overall.
I agree.
Who do they add?
Oh, let me get the book out. I wrote it down.
I should have did my studying a little bit.
I know they lost.
All right. The 49ers added in free agency Javon Hargraves, Austin Bryant, Miles Hartsfield, safety, defensive back, Ross Dwelly, tight end, John Feliciano, offensive guard, Ty McGill, defensive tackle, Demetrius Flanagan Fowler, linebacker, Isaiah Oliver, cornerback, Clellan Farrell, defensive end, first round bust, but is a good depth piece there because he's not
You know who won the offseason?
the Lions.
Seahawks. Well, in this division.
Oh, in this division. I'll go over them next.
I was gonna say I think the Seahawks did because.
No, I mean in free agency. I'm just talking free agency, not draft. If you add it
Oh,
all
okay.
together,
Okay,
yeah.
because I was gonna say because they also got you gotta figure they got the picture of Russell Wilson in that trade. So
Oh yeah, I know. But I'm talking about free agency wise.
yeah, I don't know who any of those teams really signed though. I know the Rams lost some guys.
So after Clellan Farrell, there was still Jake Brendel, Kevin Givens, Sam Darnold, and I said, go seeing a first round bust QB that might resurrect with Shanahan. That was my note next to it.
Yeah, if Sam Darnold turns into a top 10 QB this year, we know Kyle Shanahan's like the freaking offensive guru that his system is.
And then last but not least, they also had a very underrated signing at safety, Tayshaun Gibson Sr.,
Oh
who's
no.
quietly a very good starter, but that's a excellent just for free agency. That's excellent. Whereas the Seahawks, the best thing that they got going is they got Jerron Reed, but he's no Javon Hargraves.
Yeah.
But they got Bobby Wagner back. That's their best two signings, as far as I'm concerned. Draymond Jones, defensive end, is a depth piece there. Julian Love, safety.
Yeah, that guy.
Evan Brown was a good pickup. That's a backup center and guard from the Lions because their center was damn near atrocious last year, except in the run game.
Yeah.
Phil Haynes is a guard they picked up. I kind of don't even remember where he came from. And they also picked up the kicker, Jason Myers, who's had 2 Pro Bowl seasons, so he's not that bad of a kicker.
Yeah.
Their draft picks, on the other hand,
Yeah,
first
see, I
round,
think they definitely won the off-season total as a whole because of their draft.
Yep. Now, if you add in the draft, Seahawks had the better draft.
Yeah, because they got Jackson Smith at Jigma or whatever from Ohio State. They got Then they get a corner that was supposed to be really
Witherspoon.
good.
Yep, they got Devin Witherspoon.
And
Yeah.
then they got
It's funny. As soon as they did that, the Lions were the only team that took any time on the clock.
and then they also got Zach Charbonneau or Charbonnet,
Well,
who's
in the first round, they got Jackson Smith Najigba too, the good wide
Yeah,
receiver
that's
out
what
of
I just
Ohio
said.
State.
I knew they got him early.
And then second round was Derek Hall, outside linebacker. Later in the second round at 52, they got Zach Charbonnet. They also got Anthony Bradford, a guard, Cameron Young, a defensive tackle, Mike Morris out of University of Michigan, defensive end at the 5th pick at 151. 3 picks later, they took another Michigan player, which is Alasigan Alawatini, the center.
Yep.
And yes, I had to say it exactly like that, or I was going to screw it up. Jared Reed, safety, and their last pick at 237, which is actually an underrated pick too, is Kenny McIntosh out of Georgia.
Yeah, the running back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, underrated. And then the 49ers, I know we're talking Seahawks, also got a Michigan guy. They got Jake Moody, the kicker.
And Chad Dedema, you talked about the Lions dump Brown for Glasgow, and I think they got Glasgow because he'll be much cheaper than what Evan Brown would be, because Evan Brown was a better center in his few games that he played in Frank Ragnow's stead than Graham Glasgow was as a center all of last year. Graham Glasgow tied for last in sacks with Cody Whitehair of the Chicago Bears, with 5 sacks given up by a center. And everybody's like, "Oh, that's not 5 sacks. That's not that much." No, that's a lot for a center, because a center should never be giving up sacks.
Yeah, that's not like a right tackle or a left tackle.
Right. And then the draft of the 49ers, and I was really, really hoping that I could have got any 49er fan to come on live here to talk about this. The 87th pick was Jair Brown, safety out of TSU. All I got to say is Brendan Joseph was still on the board.
Yeah.
Well, what's the guy from Boise State? He was there too, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The
J.L. Skinner
safety.
was there. Yes.
Yeah, the safety from Boise
J.L.
State.
Skinner was dropping through the rankings of safeties quicker than a rock would in a still water.
Really?
Yeah. He went from being the second best safety overall. The one that never changed was Brian Branch. He was at the top
Yeah, I
prior
knew
to
he was
leaving,
higher. What
and
was
then
this?
he was at the top at the end.
What was the safety from Georgia? What was his name? I had a safety.
I can't even remember, but he was decent, and he was like a top 10.
Smith. Smith.
Yep,
Christopher Smith.
yep. Then
He was
the
probably
pick
there
that
too.
shocked the world. Third round, 99th pick overall.
Jake Moody.
The kicker from University of Michigan, Jake Moody.
Yay.
With what was on the board there, they could have had Adewale, they could have had all these other people, and they took a kicker.
A kicker with a top 100 pick.
Yep. 155th, they did Darrell Luter Jr., Robert Beal Jr., then D. Winters, the good linebacker from TCU, which at the 6th round, the 216th pick, that was a value pick to me. They got great value with where they got him.
Yeah.
Braden Willis, tight end out of Oklahoma. There was better tight ends on the board again. That's another one of those things where you just go, what?
Plus, I never heard of that guy.
Right. I never heard of him. And Oklahoma was nowhere near being in contention for playoffs last year.
Yeah, I never heard of that guy.
Here's another good pick that they got late. Tell me what's better value. In the 2nd round, the Green Bay Packers taking Jaden Reed from from Michigan State University, or with the 253rd pick overall, you get Ronnie Bell out of the University of Michigan. Which is the better value pick there?
Definitely the 49ers, Ronnie Bell.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even trying to talk trash. It's laughable because I never heard Jaden Reed being mentioned as a day 2 pick.
Yeah, he was always like a
And
5th
Ronnie
round.
Bell was borderline being a late 3rd, early 4th, and fell to the 7th round, 253rd out of 259 picks.
Yeah, well, that's like the guy for West Virginia. They were saying he could go in like the 5th round, and he never even got
Bryce.
drafted.
Yeah,
Bryce
Ford Wheaton.
Fort Wheaton. Yeah, I like that.
Jeremy and I know him well. We were pre-talking
I
about
was,
him.
oh, both of us, we didn't care who got him, but we wanted it to be the Panthers or the Lions.
Exactly.
Yeah, because he was like 6'5", 220 pounds, and ran like a 4.3 or something
He was
He
crazy.
ran a
so
4.39
good.
40, 6'4", 222 pounds, 42-inch vertical, 10-foot
Yeah,
9-inch broad jump. He ran the shuttle almost as fast as the kid out of Georgia, the Nolan Smith.
Yep.
okay, yeah,
He ran the shuttle, the three cone shuttle, almost as fast as him,
yeah,
which means his change of direction is pretty exceptional.
yeah. For a guy that big,
Interesting, James Perkins.
It's funny that all of his numbers equate to a 1-inch shorter version of Megatron.
so
Yeah.
that's what they were saying. They said they were comparing his numbers. The only guy they could compare his like combine numbers with his size and everything was Calvin Johnson.
Yeah, I was like, wow, I wanted him with the Lions bad.
Which did he ever even get picked up?
He got picked up through UDFA
Because I
by
was
the New
wondering if
York
I knew he
Giants.
went up. Because I thought he would get drafted like a latest like 6th round, and he never got drafted. And then I was like, wonder if anybody
The
picked him up.
Giants, yeah, the Giants picked him up, unfortunately.
Here's
We might
another
get some
little bit of a
PT
head
there.
scratcher because I've talked about it. That kid out of Division III, Saginaw Valley State, that the Lions picked up and been tooting his horn. The Trevor Nowoski, the linebacker, at 6'4" and 243 pounds, and ran a 4.48 40. That's unheard of for a guy that size,
Yeah,
that with that much weight. Instead of picking him, the 49ers, the 2 picks later after Ronnie Bell gets their last pick, was Jalen Graham, the linebacker out of Purdue. Oh, I'm sorry, Purdue. I'm sorry, I called it wrong. It's Purdue.
I never heard of
No,
that
it's
guy either.
Purdue.
He's the exact same height. He weighs 10 pounds heavier, but he ran a 40 time only tenth of a second slower than Jelani Tavai.
Oh my gosh.
So that's theirs.
Don't,
I really
don't
didn't
ever
pay much
don't ever
attention.
say don't ever say Jelani Patricia on this show ever again.
No, it's Matt Patricia, Boob
No,
Twin.
Now I'm talking about Jelani Patricia's son is Jelani Patricia.
Yeah. And James Burgess says, per sometimes? No, it's per don't. They didn't win the Big Ten last year versus Michigan, and everybody says, oh, they'll give them a run for the money. It was a blowout.
Or as I call Purdue, messed up all the time.
Purdue hasn't been good in a while. If we're
And
being
they
No,
have
honest.
not since Drew Brees.
Glasgow has actually, I see the comments about Glasgow, and we're hoping that he can return to what he had with Decker and Ragnow and company, because that's who he's familiar with. Unfortunately, he has not been the same player since his injury, and the reports out of camp so far is he still doesn't look the same, and he may be losing his job to Gaynor, the center that we picked up at UDFA out of Baylor, or Corby Sorsdahl, the 5th-round pick we picked up. So you're talking about a guy that at one point was our starting center because Tyler Swanson got hurt, I believe it was when he was after he was drafted,
Mm-hmm.
and he took over for him.
All right, so you guys want to go ahead and go through like the position rankings and crap?
Yep, we're going to be doing that, but the Rams didn't have a pick till the 3rd round either. Go figure, it's the Rams. Les Snead always has
Oh,
them
okay.
picks. But yet they have 37 rookies on their roster this year.
Well, they pick up like 30 undrafted free agents.
Yeah, they must have.
And then they grabbed a 28-year-old quarterback, Bennett.
Yeah.
He ain't 28. He's like 25.
Max Duggan.
He's the same age as Hendon
Oh no,
Hooker.
they grabbed Stetson Bennett. He was ranked lower than Max Duggan in this draft.
Yeah, but
Where
then Max
did
Duggan,
Duggan go?
I know.
I don't think Duggan didn't get drafted, did he?
I know.
I
I'm just
think
saying,
Duggan got picked by
according
Tampa.
to the way all the ranking big boards,
Yeah, I don't.
Stetson
I don't
Bennett
know.
was behind, and it's because of his diminutive stance. And again, I'm going to say this again. Rams will be 3rd in the division because the only other team that I haven't mentioned yet, I don't want to because they really didn't do good in anything. Oh yeah, the way it was at the Kyler Murray's midget quarterback team, the Arizona Cardinals. Yeah, that's them.
Kyler Murray didn't even start. So.
The only thing I'll say about Stetson Bennett, he is only an inch taller than Kyler Murray. So I don't see him seeing over that big O line that can't block in LA. Because just ask Matt Stafford how his back feels.
Yep.
Just saying.
Yeah.
So let's go over the window of win opportunities. Let's as far as the free agents, I got it. Rams, Seahawks. 49ers, Seahawks, Rams, Arizona.
I agree.
After the draft, I have it Seahawks, 49ers, Rams, Arizona.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might say the Cardinals did better in the draft because they did get.
They did
They
get
did.
Paris Johnson and
Well,
BJ Fogelman.
they also had a high draft picks in each round, where like the Rams didn't pick until the 3rd round.
Right.
So I would say they might have had a better draft of all-season game. How they did, they were the worst.
It's a flip flop, I think.
The Niners may have major QB questions, and the biggest question is why the hell did we give up 2 first-round picks to get Trey Lance at 3? That's number 1. Number 2 is why does Sam Darnold look better than that 3rd-round pick Trey Lance in camp right now? And we all know Sam Darnold already is a failed first round team. The only thing I worry about with Seattle is which Eugene Cyril Smith are we going to see this year? Eugene Cyril Smith that emerged as a good quarterback last year, or is Geno Smith of old from the New York Jets, the New York Giants, and his history going to show up and throw more turnovers than touchdowns?
This is
Yeah.
Geno. That's going to be the Geno Smith that didn't right back.
Yeah.
Well, I think he needs to have a good year because you got two good receivers, Smith and Jigba and DK, and you just need to go off when you have
Don't
good
forget they got
receivers.
Tyler Metcalf or Tyler Lockett.
Lockett. Yeah, and Lockett, yes.
And don't forget the sleeper tight end, Noah Fant. And don't forget Jackson Smith and the Jigba.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They're
And
going to be.
don't forget the best rookie running back last year in Kenneth Walker Jr.
And his clone
Yeah.
that they drafted this year out of UCLA and formerly of the University of Michigan, Zach Charbonnet.
And he's good. I like him a lot.
I did not understand that pick.
I didn't
They're
either.
almost the exact same 40 time, almost the exact same style of runner, and neither one are a good receiver out of the backfield. So that being said, I did not understand the Zach Charbonnet pick. They'd have been better off doing a slight reach and going for third round running back Tajay Spears, who's the
I agree.
exact opposite. He's fast and catches out of the backfield, more of an all around player.
Yeah.
I agree.
So did you say your windows for them?
No, that's what we're getting ready to go on to next.
Okay.
So let's start at the top. Uh, who do you have as the best team in the division overall, roster top to bottom?
This might be a hot take, but I got the Seahawks winning the division.
Okay, give me your window of wins for them.
I
Floor
got
and
them with
ceiling.
10 to 12.
10 to 12. Okay.
Yeah.
Will, what do you got the Seahawks at?
I got the Seahawks between 8 and 10.
Hmm. I'm going to be a little bit different because I do think they're the second best team, and I think it's between 9 and 11 wins for them. I got the floor at 9 because I don't think they'll do any worse than they did last year. They still have some question marks in that defense. Their secondary should be better because that corner they picked is good.
Yeah. Plus you got Woolen in the second year.
Right. Pulling in the second year. The only thing I question is where they took their safety. They needed a better safety opposite because Diggs always gets hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is that say what you want, but the way teams pass in this league, you got to have two
Their
safeties
biggest
that
their
are good.
biggest their biggest loss might be the first half of the year. I don't know if you guys know this, but their linebacker Jordan Brooks.
Yeah.
That might be their biggest loss. He won't play like until like the late October. They said
That's
so
a
Right.
huge loss.
because he tore his ACL like week 15 or something last year. So,
But
Yeah.
that's why they picked up Bobby Wagner.
Exactly.
so yeah, but Bobby Wagner's not the same Bobby Wagner he was
No,
5
he's not that fast guy that's
He's
going to catch
100 years
everybody
old now.
like he used to.
Yeah.
And people know
So,
who he is and knows what his moves are and how to look out for him. Because otherwise he'd have had a much better year and not left the 49ers last year.
no, you mean the Rams?
Or was he? Yeah, he was at the Rams. Yeah,
Rams.
but either way, Rams, Niners. It doesn't. Oh yeah, it's Werner and
Warner.
Werner, Wiener, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So we're
I
all
have him at 9 to 11.
so we're all got them with it pretty much a 2 game window. You got them 9 to 11. I got them 10 to 12, and you got them 8 to 10.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you
Okay.
average that out, I think 9 to 11 is a consensus between all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Does anybody disagree with that for right now? For when I
Nope.
go over it at the end?
Well,
No.
I think that's good.
Okay, this time, Will, 49ers, where do you have them? What's their floor and their ceiling?
Their floor is 11. Their ceiling's 13. I
Okay.
know Purdy's coming off an injury, but they're just they're scary on offense, and they're pretty scary on defense too. Even though they did lose Jimmy Ward. So I got them between 11 and 13.
Okay. And now it's time for your hot take on this one there, Jordan.
49ers, this is the
Mhm.
year they're going to fall off. Because you know why? They got that old Trey Lance at quarterback. They're going to go 8-9 this year with Trey Lance at quarterback.
Well, considering from what I've heard, the guy that's won the starting job over Trey Lance already is Sam Darnold.
Well, if Sam Darnold's starting, they might win another game. So maybe they're 9-8 instead of 8-9.
And I'm pretty much spot on with James Burgess. I have them in a 9 to 12 window. And the reason why I say 9 to 12 is that defense is good enough to win you 3 games.
Yeah, I was going to say 8-12, but yeah.
So I'm at 9 to 12 for them. And I think that's pretty much in the middle of the wheelhouse of everybody. So it's kind of like, wait, we said 9 to 11 was the wheelhouse for Seattle. And now we're
Yeah.
in that 9 to 12. So it's a 1A, 1B.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Exactly.
really depends on how bad it is when they hit their floor
Well,
and
yeah,
how
and it's
good
going
it
to
is when they hit their ceiling.
and it's going to depend. A lot of it could just depend on health too. Because remember, a couple years ago, the 49ers had all those injuries on defense.
Yep.
So
Yep.
all it takes is 3 or 4 injuries on their defense, and then all of a sudden, the Seahawks look like the clear favorites.
The other thing I got to say is the only thing that's going to hurt Seattle and San Francisco more than it will other teams, they are number 1 and 2 for distance traveled and least amount of days rest this season.
Oh,
Yep.
really?
That would.
Even LA Rams travel less than both of those teams out of the same division, but it's because they're the furthest east on the California coast.
Yeah.
I mean, it may not sound like much, but that 50 to 100 miles, it's huge on what it equals to for round trip because that's 100 to 200 miles every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And thank God they don't make anybody play in Hawaii anymore because that would just totally screw everything up. Like this year, just to go college for instance, guess what? 2 colleges travel the most of all colleges in the 128 teams in Division One.
No idea.
It is UCLA and USC in 2024 when they join the Big Ten,
I
and
was
it's
gonna say
not
that.
even
I was
close.
gonna guess. I was gonna guess it was a Western team, the team out west.
And it's not even close. You want to know why? Because both of them have a scrimmage game with Hawaii in Hawaii.
Oh God. Oh my God.
I mean, even if you took that out though, like they would still be by far the most because they're
That's
playing in the Big
12,000
Ten.
miles.
They're playing in the Big Ten, and the Big Ten's all like Northeast and Midwest teams.
Yeah. Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan,
So
North Chicago.
yeah, like Ohio State, Michigan, Purdue, Michigan
Yeah.
State, they're all close. Those teams are all close together.
The
Yeah.
only reason that those 2 teams were the ones that they picked out of the Pac-12 is because those 2 have the biggest money draw in the best size stadium, with the Coliseum being the home field for both teams.
You said USC and UCLA,
Mhm.
Yep.
right? I was surprised it wasn't Oregon.
I was too.
Oregon is the only team that's decided to stay with the Pac-12 because their donators were the biggest part of starting the Pac-12 network,
Yeah, because I
which
know
is
them in
Nike.
Utah
So
have been
I
really
think
good.
Nike might have said, "Hey, you leave for the Big Ten. We're not going to be giving you all those free alternate uniforms every year anymore."
True. Got a point.
All right, Rams window of win opportunity. I'm going to start this one off. If Matt Stafford is healthy, their ceiling is 9 wins. Their floor, if Stetson Bennett has to start year 1 because Stafford gets hurt, you could see a 3-win team. Not because Stetson Bennett's that bad, because there's a learning curve from college to NFL. And there's a
You
reason
know,
why he was picked as late as he was.
I mean, if we're being honest, the Rams' offensive line has question marks.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And outside of Cooper Kupp, who were you throwing the football to?
Yeah, because Allen Robinson isn't even there anymore. Even though last year I called it, everybody said that was a great signing. I was like, no, it's not. Look at his separation numbers. That's a sign that he's losing his speed, and he was getting up there in age.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like all you got to do is double team in Cooper Kupp, and that's pretty much it. That's their
Yeah, you
offense.
double team Cooper Kupp. The only one you got to worry about is that other slot receiver that came on when Matt Stafford took him to the Super Bowl.
They had Jefferson.
Oh, Van Jefferson.
Yeah, Van Jefferson.
I forgot about him.
I did too until now.
Yep, but he's
out of Florida.
basically a faster version of how he runs routes. He's a faster version of Cooper Kupp, but he's not as sure with his hands.
True.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a route technician. He's damn near open every play. And they also got that kid they picked up out of Montana that's pretty good too, Lance McCullers.
The big reason that why I think the Rams' window is pretty small is because if you go look at their roster on defense, I ain't never heard of any of those guys really.
Yeah, I mean, other than Aaron Donald.
Yeah, Aaron Donald, because they lost the Ramsey, they traded him. No Leonard Floyd anymore.
No Von Miller anymore.
Yeah, I mean, so they, and then their one safety, I think, signed with Cincinnati or somebody.
Right, they signed with Cincinnati because the Cincinnati safety went to Atlanta.
Yeah, what's his name, Rapp or something?
Mm-hmm.
Taylor Rapp.
Yeah, Taylor Rapp's who they got. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why I've got
their window of wins. Like I said, it could be as bad as 3 and as much as 9. It depends on who the starting quarterback is, if the O line can actually protect them.
Yeah, but how many games did Stafford miss last year?
He missed 9 games.
And what did they finish last year? 5 or 6 wins?
5 wins.
So that's why I said 5. I'm going to say 5 to 9. Because I think Sean McVay is good enough that he's going to at least win 5 games with the
I personally think Sean McVay is overrated, and he had a team that was built for the quarterback that left, and what he lucked out on is that Matt Stafford's interception machines in the fourth quarter did not cost them a lot of games.
Okay, but I'm saying at least McVay's still better than most head coaches. He's going to give you an advantage on most head coaches still on Sunday.
I'll go with 4 to 8 wins.
Yep, and Chad Demas says the main thing right there. This is what hurt that defense the most. The Rams are in cap hell just like the Vikings. Dumping Ramsey was stupid.
Yeah.
And they traded him for like a bag of Doritos.
Yeah, I mean, a 3rd round pick and a 6th for the #1 coverage corner in man coverage.
Yeah, and he's still in this. And I don't think people think Ramsey's washed. I'm like, I don't think he's washed.
No, in man coverage, it's fine. Zone coverage is where he's ass. I'm going to be honest. Zone coverage, he's not that good.
Yeah, but I mean, look at Jalen Ramsey. He looks like a fucking safety playing corner. He just knows how to play corner. That's why he's so good at man pressing people.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's physical.
Right. And he's great in that first 5 yards. And he's great within air ball defending. That's what he's good at. He's not going to get you the most interceptions. He's never been that guy.
Yeah.
He's a shutdown corner, not a lockdown corner. There's a big difference.
Yep.
And James Burton says, yeah, the Rams should have used him up. They couldn't afford to. If they'd have kept him, they couldn't afford their rookies, even though they didn't have a 1st or 2nd round pick. I don't even think they had a 3rd round pick, if I remember right. I can't remember. Oh, yeah, they had a compensatory 3rd. Wasn't it a compensatory, like, pick 100 to 105, somewhere in there?
Yeah, sounds right.
All right, and now we are to the team that should be the basement dweller of the NFL. I mean, the only other team that might compete with them is the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to say the Arizona Cardinals. Yeah, I'm taking that dig because you lose a Hall of Fame quarterback, you're going to get digged upon. No, the 99th pick was Jake Moody, so it had to be 100.
I'm just going to say this. The Cardinals, they got Colt McCoy as their starting quarterback the first half of the season.
Yeah, and Kyler Murray by the second half of the season is so busy playing Modern Warfare, he's not into playing football.
And we know the second half of the year, Cliff Kingsbury is not a good coach, and that's
He's
just
not there
false
anymore.
apart.
He's gonna
Oh,
get
he's not.
fired.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, he got fired.
I forgot they did fire his ass. But who is their new coach?
I can't even begin to tell you. I'd have to look it up.
Okay. But
That's how
anyway,
bad it
like
is.
it doesn't matter. The Cardinals stock. They're probably going to have the number one pick and draft Caleb Williams in 2024. So that's pretty much where they're at. They just
I have their window of wins between 0 and 4.
he said 0.
Yeah, I
1
said
and
0.
5 for me.
You got 5?
1 and 4. What? No, make it 1 and 4.
1 and 4. Okay.
What make you win?
He said 0 to 4. He said I want my 0 and 16 Lions to get broke.
Hey,
Well, dude,
there wasn't just an 0 and 16 Lions. There was an 0 and 16 Browns 4 years later. Remember?
Yeah. Well, I'm saying that then they'll have an 0 and 17 team.
I just want to have the first 0 and 17 team be the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, I do too.
I think they'll win a game or two, but
on accident because somebody accidentally screws up and throws a pick.
Because you know how it is. You know how it is. There's always a team that's just like, oh yeah, we overlooked them this Sunday. We're gonna kill them, and then they wind up losing by like a game-winning field goal or something.
Okay, so I got 0 to 5. He's got this 1 to 4. What do you got him at?
I'm gonna say because usually the worst team at least wins a minimum of 2 games. I'm gonna say 2 to 4.
2 to 4. So the consensus is 1 to 4.
Yay!
Between all of us.
Pretty much, yeah.
I want to put that 0 in there so bad, but I'll leave it out.
So pretty much, we're just saying the Arizona Cardinals are gonna have the number 1 pick.
Yes.
We're saying that dog water after the dog slobbers in it would be better than the Arizona Cardinals. That's what we're saying.
What's the difference?
So are we saying that the Alabama Crimson Tide would give the Arizona Cardinals a good game?
They kill them.
I think the Georgia Bulldogs could beat them in Arizona and Alabama. Last year's roster might have to.
What about the Birmingham Stallions?
That's debatable. I think that's on par.
I think they tie 0-0.
No, there'll be points scored. Both defenses are as dog water as the team.
Oh, let's say I don't know anybody on the Cardinals defense besides Buda Baker, and he wants out.
Isaiah Simmons.
Yeah, but he's been a bust because they don't know how to use him.
Right. Well, they finally said something that made sense this offseason, even though they didn't pick up his 5th-year option, which makes about as much sense as wiping your butt than taking a crap, because that's why you draft a first-round pick if you're not going to trade him away in the offseason of that 4th year.
Yeah.
Is they're actually going to play him at safety.
James, come on. My Panthers aren't that bad.
Oh, they're going to play Simmons at safety?
Yep.
Really?
He's going to be opposite Buda Baker or in the box as the Viper safety finally. Panthers Cardinals tonight on Fox. Oh man, you talk about the least watched football game in NFL history right there.
We killed them.
I still think let's say it's halfway through the season. It's almost Thanksgiving. And Jared Goff gets a hangnail and has to miss the Thanksgiving game, and Hendon Hooker's healthy. They won't put Suckfeld in then. And yes, just for you, Chad, I said it the way you say it because that's the way I've always said it. Nate Sudfeld is a great backup quarterback because he knows how to hold that clipboard and the tablet at the perfect angle so Jared Goff can see it. But he is not a good quarterback. That is why I call him Nate Suckfeld. Hendon Hooker comes in, and you will have the best commentary of a Thanksgiving Day football game ever because all you'll get to hear when they talk about the quarterback is hookers and love.
Wait, do you guys play the Packers on
Thanksgiving?
Oh.
Hey, did you tell him what you want a receiver to be called
Somebody
for the-
look one up. I don't care if it's D3. Please find me a wide receiver with the last name of Blow, and I want him to be a Lion just because of the name.
Hooker Pestilence.
Because if we win a Super Bowl in 2024, the headline could read Hooker and Blow saves Detroit.
Hey, wait. Jeremy, can we legally change
And the hooker throws deep to Blow.
Can we
Jeremy,
change St. Brown's name to Blow?
Take Blow?
No. Amon St. Blow?
No, you have to
No,
change
that
David.
don't work.
You have to change David Blau's last name to Blow.
Yeah, because he did blow as a quarterback.
David Blow?
Man, that is too funny. I bet there's a receiver out there named Blow.
There has to be. I'm going to start looking.
I mean, there was a basketball player years ago. His name was Gay, Rudy Gay or whatever.
Oh, I remember Rudy Gay. Rudy Gay was actually a good journeyman bench player.
Yeah, he was a forward.
And he got traded recently.
And then there was a cornerback for the Steelers. He had the last name Gay, too.
Willie Gay, yeah.
Willie Gay.
Was it Willie Gay?
Yep.
Yeah, I guess it was, yeah. He was a corner for the Steelers. He was pretty solid, too.
Yeah, he was.
Rudy and Willie Gay. Put it together in a sentence. Rudy's Willie Gay.
Rudy's Willie is gay.
No, you can't say is gay because that wouldn't be the sentence. You got to put all three together. No.
Oh, man.
Hooker and Blow with a big night in New York. Details at 11.
Hey, wouldn't it be better if the Super Bowl that year was in Cleveland, too?
They need to remake Hootie and the Blowfish and call him Hooker.
They would let Deshaun Watson on the sideline.
They might. That might be bad for press, though. All right, so to recap, we have it coming down to 1A, 1B. Both teams between 9 and 12, and that would be the San Francisco 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks, correct?
Yeah.
And then it's the Rams with a middling year again, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, probably Matt Stafford's last year.
You would think so. Chase Burgess, I love it.
Oh,
Happy ending for Hooker and Blow in overtime. These headlines would write themselves.
Yes, they would.
There's probably a strip club somewhere named Hooker and Blow too. They could go to.
No, but guess what? There's a children's book that a woman found and took a picture of it, and it's about a snowplow and a tow truck, and it's called Hooker and Blow Saves Christmas.
What the fuck? Hooker and Blow Saves Christmas. What the fuck?
That's an actual children's book.
Is that replacing Rudolph every year?
And it's a children's book too. That's worse.
Yeah. Lions had two starting quarterbacks named Light and Fair playing at the same time. We drafted Fair over Moss, probably the biggest fuck up in history. Yes, Burgess, I'm serious. There's a children's book named Hookers and Blow Saves Christmas.
Could you imagine?
Jeremy, can I get you that as your Christmas gift?
Could you imagine your kid going on winter break and he gets a book? Hey, you got to study this book while you're on winter break, and it's called Hooker and Blow.
Let Dad borrow that book.
It's actually a book that was new in 2022, no less. It wasn't even an old one.
I wonder how many copies sold.
I'm gonna actually find it.
No. Children's Reading Club.
First, I gotta get
We
rid of
don't
all
talk
the
about
notifications.
It must have been made by Robert Kraft.
Oh
that's
no,
like,
we talk about Fair and Moss. It's just James Burgess doesn't want to hear about it because that 1998 draft was the most atrocious draft atrocity in Detroit Lions history. I rank that above Ebron over Donald.
it might be,
Because
it might,
if you have the 27th pick and you take Terry Fair, cornerback out of Virginia, because he can return kicks over Randy Moss out of Marshall, you need your friggin' head examined.
Yeah, you do. Stop
James
hurting
Burgess
me.
says, "Stop hurting me." Okay, on the dial here. Point where the bad man touched you, James.
yeah, that book was definitely made by Robert Kraft.
Oh,
That was like,
absolutely.
you said 2022. That was about the time that happened for Robert Kraft when he got fucking caught down in Florida.
And it's available on Amazon.
Woo!
Yeah, it's probably like a $40 book too.
It's $10. It's paperback.
Oh my god! Oh my god, James! No!
And see if I
Hey,
can get
Oh
I'm
my
just,
info.
god!
Save Christmas.
That's hilarious.
I'm just gonna buy it to hold up on the next show.
Yes, yes. I'm thinking about buying it. What the hell? Oh,
Are
it
you?
has a hardcover version for $5 more. I think I'll do it
Yippee!
just to frame the cover.
Yep. It'd be like, Head and Hooker, can you sign this? And when we get a receiver named Blow, I'll have him to sign.
Now I'm looking this up if there's a receiver named below somewhere.
Imagine a veteran Moss teamed up with a rookie
Oh.
Calvin Johnson. That's exactly what I'm talking about. With the next year, a rookie Matt Stafford.
Yeah, you guys would win the Super Bowl for sure.
Hardcore cover for $5 more. Yeah,
That
exactly,
would be
Chad.
a
If we'd have
scary
had
team.
Randy Moss then, because I don't, if you'd had Randy Moss and we drafted Calvin Johnson and he had the choice of taking a third contract with Detroit or moving on, with everything you knew about Calvin Johnson, could you see how deadly that offense would have been? We'd have never had the 0-16 season.
1-2 punch easily. They would dominate the Moss and Carter records.
I
They
think
would
Moss
kill
would
it.
have stayed on for another 5, 6 more years.
Yeah, easily.
And you'd be talking about a different Matthew Stafford because his deep ball got there with quickness. King SJ in the building. How you doing, buddy? Oh, yes. At Chad Ditima. That's why it hurts so damn much. It's right there with signing Mitchell instead of Warren Moon. Maybe worse. We haven't seen Smoking Dad come in, but it's that time of night where we have already did the division review. And again, rest in peace, Ryan Mallett. My heartfelt prayers and condolences go out to his parents, most of all, and the rest of the family, of course. But we know where I stand with that. We
Yep.
have it Rams Seahawks tied at the top with a 1A, 1B, and it might come down to a coin flip or their
I mean,
heads up matchup.
49ers.
Or 49ers, yep, sorry. Then the Rams, and then we have the Dogwater Cardinals.
I'd still
Or,
take dog water over them.
or like Jeremy would like to say, the 0-17 Cardinals.
Well, Joey Harrington wouldn't have been here that long, but Joey Harrington might have had a chance if he'd have had a receiver like Moss instead of peg leg Jermaine Crowell.
Here's a question: would Joey Harrington start on the Arizona Cardinals?
Over
Today?
Kyler Murray, he has a better completion percentage, so I would say yes.
Yeah.
Well, I was referring to Colt McCoy, but
No, I'm going versus Kyler Murray. For me, right now on their roster, I almost would say Colt McCoy's the better uh,
really,
Yeah.
quarterback.
Yeah, I would too.
yeah.
But I got to give a shout out before I say get by and let you guys give the parting shots for yourselves. Give the shout out to
Yep.
Los Negron, the window tinner out at A1 Tire in Cocala, Michigan. He does a great job tinting windows. Go see him. Whole cars or trucks starting at 200, unless it's a crew cab or a full size van. That's the only thing that goes up. I had to think for a second. I had a brain cramp. Lions 1960. My daughter still has a Joey jersey. You want to hear something crazy? It's in my drawer. I found one 2 years ago at a Goodwill for 50 cents and I bought it. So I have a Joey Harrington jersey that fits, an official jersey.
Do you got a Dan Orlowski jersey?
Never was that stupid. Joey Harrington was a starter. Dan Orlovsky was dog water backup.
He never started ever for you guys?
When Dante Culpepper got hurt in the 0-16 year.
I thought he started at some point.
Yeah, he started that last game of the season versus the Colts, which we were winning till he stepped out the back of the end zone. And James Burgess says, Lions 1960, she could wear it proudly to piano practice.
What year did you say that was?
That would have been the 2000. It's the year before we drafted Calvin Johnson.
So like 07?
Yep.
So
The 07-08 season.
So you guys almost beat Peyton Manning that year then.
Yep.
Yeah, we would have beat Peyton Manning that year. No, that was the year Peyton Manning hurt his neck the first time.
Was it? Yeah, because I was going to say he would have been on the Colts, so that's what I'm saying. You guys would have beat one of the best teams in the AFC that year if you guys would have won that game.
Yeah, and we'd have went 1-16 instead of 0-17.
That's what I'm saying. That's what the Cardinals are going to do. They're going to beat a team that nobody expects. They'll probably beat like the freaking, I don't know, like this. Maybe not the Chiefs, but they might be like the Chargers or somebody.
Yeah. Okay, Jordan, what's your pardon shot tonight?
Gino dinner right back.
All right, Will, what's yours?
I'll go real quick. You guys can find me Sunday nights on Basket Bros on Sideline Sports. You can find me here on Wednesday nights. And you can also find me on the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel in the comment section of their live videos.
All right. Where can people find your podcast there, Jordan?
I don't do a podcast anymore.
You don't do it anymore?
No, I'm probably going to start one back up, though, soon, though. Been thinking about starting one.
Well, if you do, it's going to be on the In Honor of Thomas Dowland Sports Talk page, right?
Yeah, it'll be on there, on that Facebook page, and it'll probably be on YouTube as well.
Very cool.
And everybody knows where they can find me here at the Kneecap Biting with the Detroit Lions. You can also find me on Sideline Sports. You can also find me on Let's Talk Sports. And you can find me on the South Florida Tribune channel any night of the week, any day of the week. I love to talk sports, and that's about it. This has been the NFC West Review. Thanks to Will and Jordan. Everybody have a great night, and just remember to always try to be a better person than you were the day before, because that's the only way to make the world a better place. It starts from within.
And don't bite your kneecaps.
And see you in 2 weeks.
And we'll be back in 2 weeks. Absolutely. Have a happy 4th, everybody.